Good day. This is RONA reporting about family and its dynamic. The objective of my topic is to aware and to know how family influence on the behavior and development of your child. Then, to discuss the appropriate communication toward the child's family and to know and cope the family issues of children. Then, it states here that good communication is important or is a key part of effective communication is the engagement, is trust between the workforce, children, young people, and their careers, and between and within different sectors of forces itself. To build a part with children, young people, and those who are caring for them, it is important to demonstrate understanding, respect, and honesty. Continuity in relationships promotes engagement and improvement of our lives. The skills and knowledge provide a basic description of areas that may need and develop through training, learning of experience in order to work effectively. So the influence of the behavior and development of a child to our family. So most families are sooner or later met a serious automobile accident, lost job, financial difficulties, house fire or natural disaster, diagnosis of cancer or death of a relative or a parent. Like me, I lost my mother. She was diagnosed breast cancer and she died last 2013. It's very painful in my part that at those times it can be hard to know how to pretend problem that doesn't exist rather than address what happened. Our my children or we as the children feel stress of the situation, whether we will help my family, help my father to deal with it or not. So here, when any family is facing a crisis, the tension usually spreads to everyone in the family. Children will often mimic the behavior of their parents. If a child sees mom and dad upset or screaming, parents make when facing a crisis, it's not being open, honest about with their children. Often parents try to keep themselves the problem from their children because they do not want them to worry, diba? Of course, we parents or most of us here who are parents are try to solve the problems within ourselves, within our partner, without knowing the children what is happening between the what is the happening or what is the problem that we are facing. Because we do not want our children to get worried unless parents explain what is bothering them. Their children may think that something they did is to be blamed. This can be a worse burden on them than knowing what's really happening would be. So, for example, if a parents were hide the family problem like the financial difficulties, the children still learn the situation from the secondary source. Like for example, the head of the family or the father lost his job. Then you will not tell that to your children that the head of the family lost his job. Then the children will know to the secondary source, meaning the neighbors or any of our relatives. So what do you think did the children feel? No, they hear from the news from the other source. So maybe they will get mad, they were upset, or they're worried. No, it may feel like we don't trust them, and they were not part of the family. So many times, parents inadvertently reinforce fear and anxiety in their children by telling them or talk about the stressful situation. That gives the children no outlet to express their feelings and to have the situation normalized. Children need to know the feelings. No? The feelings of our children are real. That their experiences are not unique to them, that others have feel the same way and need it through similar situations. No one wants to talk about unpleasant situation, right? We did not gonna share bad news. Yet sometimes doing so is unnecessary for parenting. No, it's part of parenting. So one role of a parent is soldering problems and burdens because we're older and bigger and we can see light at the end of the tunnel that our children can't. So as parents, as having leadership rule in the family, need to think about what's happening in their lives and how that is going to affect our children. And then we present the news in a way that is both kind and gentle. Diba? So as we present our problem to our children, we make it gentle and in a positive way. No, dili pakalit-kalit, dili in a surprise or a shock kanang situation. Kay tingali in this nga we will help our children realize or to know what is the problem. Ato na hinuon sila murag mafilan no nila nga more kahadlok or ma-threaten sila ug unsa nay mahitabo ikahibaw na nila kung unsa di ay ang problema, what is happening na between our family, no? So next we have the appropriate communication towards the child's family. So as we all know that communication is the effective way of sending of information from one person to another. It is delivered through verbal or non-verbal. For example, we see one person talking to another person is the verbal communication. Or a scroll on a person's face that will probably let other people know he is angry. Like frowning. Through facial expression, you will know that the person is angry or mad. No? That's sign of non-verbal communication. So communication can be positive or negative, effective or ineffective. It is very important for parents to be able to communicate openly and effectively with their children. Open, effective communication benefits not only the children, but every member of the family. Relationships between parents and their children are greatly improved when there is effective communication taking place. So in general, if communication between parents and children is good, then the relationship is good also. Children learn how to communicate by watching their parents. If their parents communicate openly and effectively, chances are that their children will do the same. So in good communication skills benefit children for their entire lives. Children begin to form ideas and beliefs of themselves based on how parents communicate with them. When parents communicate effectively, the children are assuming respect and they boost self-esteem. So, once children know what is expected of them, they are more likely to live up this expectation. They are also more likely to feel secure in the position in the family and thus more likely to be cooperative. So, to start a positive communication with our children, first, we communicate effectively while our children are still young. No? Parents and their children communicate, but both must feel comfortable enough to do so. While our children are still young, we should begin setting the stage for open and effective communication. Children who feel loved and accepted by their parents are more likely to open and share their thoughts, feelings, and concerns with their parents. For example, when a child picks up a toys after he or she finished with them playing, parents can let him know that they appreciate it by saying something like, I appreciate you when you pick up the toys without being told. When talking with their children, parents should be careful on what they say and how they say it. So number two, communicate at children's level. When parents communicate with their children, it is important for them to come down to their children's level, verbally and physically. Verbally, parents should try to use age-appropriate language that their children can easily understand. With younger children, this can be done by using simple words. For example, tower over their children when talking or communicating with them. Instead, they should try to calm down to their children's level by lowering themselves, either kneeling, sitting, or stopping. This makes eye contact much easier maintained, and children are much less likely to feel intimidated by parents to eye contact. Then three, let's learn how to really listen. Listening is a skill that must be learned and practiced. Listening is an important part of effective communication. When parents learn to their children, they are showing them that they are interested and they are care about what their children have to say. So here are some important steps in becoming a good listener. First, make and make and maintain an eye-to-eye contact. Parents are showing their children that they are involved and interested. Children might be the opposite message that their parents are not interested when they saw that their parents are not maintaining or they they doesn't have an eye-to-eye contact. Next is to eliminate distractions. When the children express the desire to talk, then parents give an undivided attention. They should put aside what they are doing and face their children and give their undivided attention. Next is the listen with a closed mouth. Parents should try to keep an interruption to a minimum while their children speaking. They can offer encouragement. Next, let your children know they have been heard. For example, boys, it sounds like you really had a good day in preschool. That only will let children know that their parents been listening. This will also offer opportunity for parents for clarification or misinterpreting the message their children are trying to get across. Then the fourth positive communication to the children is uh, conversation. Let conversation breathe. No? Kinahanglan ang inyong conversation mubo lang. Dili pataason. Because younger children are more different for them to sit down for long, speechless, then you keep on speaking to young children for longer than 30 seconds, then ask them to comment on what was said. So the parents or our parents' rule is to pass information a little at a time while checking that children are paying attention and understanding what is being said and at a regular intervals. Parents should let their children decide that when is enough. No? Some clues include fidgeting, lack of eye contact, distractibility. Parents need to know when to communicate with their children, but they also need to know when to back off. Number 5 is to ask the right question. Some questions help conversations along, while some can stop conversation dead in their tracks. So the parents should try to ask an open-ended question in their conversations with their children. Some questions often require an in-depth response that will keep conversation going. Open-ended questions that begin with words what, where, whom, or how are often very useful in getting children to open up. The number 6, express your own feelings and ideas while communicating with children. For communication is to be effective, it must be a two-way street. Not only must parents be available to and listen to their children for effective communication to take place. For example, the morals and values that expressing the thoughts and feelings. When expressing the ideas and feelings, parents must be careful to do so. It seems logical that the more parents open up their children, the more children will open up to them. Then number 7 is regularly schedule family meetings or times to talk. A very useful communication tool for families with older children is the regularly scheduled time to talk. This can be done in a number of ways. First of all, there is a family meeting. Family meetings can be scheduled. It's scheduled once a week or whenever there is something that the family needs to discuss. Then, number 8, admit it when you don't know something. When children ask questions that their parents can answer, they should admit that they don't know. Parents can use such instances as learning experiences. 9. Try to make explanations complete. When answering their children's questions, parents should try to give them as much as information as they need. If the topic is something parents don't feel comfortable discussing, this doesn't mean that parents must go into great deal. It is important that parents know how much information their children need and then give it to them. So parents should also encourage their children to ask questions. Then the third topic that I have is helping children cope with family issues. So there are following suggestions may help you break bad news to your children and help them face family setbacks positively and courageously. First is be honest and open to your children. Show your children some respect and respect their ability to understand the problem. Get it out in the open or reduce stress for everyone is concerned. Keep in mind that if your children see you becoming worried or anxious without an obvious reason, they may begin to think, oh no, or they were thinking that dad is upset with them. So remember that your reaction to the crisis will be the model of your child. So when the parents are worried or fearful, children worry and fearful too. Kids expect their parents to be anything, to be security, to make their world happen whether they are age of 16 or 6. Then letter B, get your children to express their opinions and assumptions. So let's encourage questions to try to get your children to verbalize their concerns. You ask them, how are you feeling? Did that make you upset? Did that scare you? By asking these questions, you give children an opportunity to express what are they thinking, to have experience normalized by their seeing that others react like they do when bad things happen. You also give your children time to think about what you have told to them. They need time to accept whatever is or isn't going to happen. Then letter C, provide a sense of hope. You find something about the situation you can be positive about. Make it clear that you're not giving up and you're not working on a plan to put the situation back on track. Stress that this happened to other families. And your family can make it through too. So first, reaffirm the importance and stability of your family. Let the children know that the family is united and supporting each other. That no matter what happens, the parents will make every effort to do the best they can for the children and to overcome whatever obstacles they are. Letter D, focus on specific steps each family member can take to help. Get your children involved in the solution stage. If the problem is financial, you could discuss the family budget at a family meeting and solicit input from the kids regarding ways the family could save money. Ask them questions such as what suggestions you have, what are the tips you can take to help. So, as a conclusion, that's the end of my topic, the end of my lesson. So as a sort of conclusion, an effective and an open communication takes a lot of hard work and practice. Parents should remember that they will not be perfect. Parents make mistakes. What is important is that parents make the effort to effectively communicate with their children, starting with their children are very young. The result will be a much closer, positive relationship between parents and children. That's the end of my report. Bye bye.